Let me ask you a strange question. If monsters ran for office and humans ran against them, who would win the election? Maybe the better question is this: who would people vote for? Sounds like a ridiculous idea, I know. But when you start looking closely at monster stories, politics, and even hip hop culture, that idea is not as crazy as it sounds. In most monster stories, monsters don't become powerful on their own. They need something from humans. Usually, three things: fear, attention, belief. In Monsters Inc., monsters literally power their world using children's screams. Fear becomes energy. Other monsters grow stronger the more people believe in them. And some monsters gain power simply because people can't stop talking about them. Fear, attention, belief. Those are the investments that make monsters powerful. Now imagine monsters running for office. They wouldn't campaign like monsters. They would campaign like politicians. Strategy number one: control the narrative. The monster wouldn't say, "I'm dangerous." They would say, "I'm misunderstood." Strategy number two: turn fear into support. Instead of saying, "You should be afraid of me," the monster would say, "You should be afraid of the system that created me." Third strategy: build a coalition of outsiders. Anyone who has ever felt ignored, rejected, underestimated, suddenly the monster becomes their champion. The message becomes simple. Maybe the problem isn't the monster. Maybe the problem is the story we're told about the monster. And here's where things get interesting, because the word monster already exists in modern political language, not literally, but rhetorically. In heated political debates, critics sometimes describe leaders or policies as monstrous. It's a way of saying this person is dangerous, this idea is harmful, this system lacks humanity. But here's the reality: the people who see a monster often aren't the same people who see a hero. Political language is full of competing stories. One person's monster is another person's reformer. And now the metaphor shifts again, because in hip hop culture, being called a monster is not an insult, it's a compliment. One of the most famous moments comes from the song Monster. On that track, Nicki Minaj deserves a verse that many people consider legendary. And in that verse, she says, "I'm a mother monster." But in that context, monster means something very different. It means dominant, unstoppable, unapologetic. It means someone who walked into the room and took control of the narrative. Nicki Minaj built a career on independence and speaking boldly. But when she publicly voiced support for the current administration, the reaction was immediate. News coverage intensified. Commentary spread across social media. Some people praised her for speaking her mind. Others criticized her strongly. And suddenly, the same qualities that made her music powerful, the independence, defiance, unapologetic speech, became controversial once they appeared in a political context. And this is where the monster metaphor becomes interesting, because monsters gain power from fear, attention, and belief, the same investments that drive modern politics. Narrative spread, people choose sides, and the word monster gets used again, sometimes as an accusation, sometimes as a badge of strength. So if monsters really did run for office, the outcome wouldn't depend on claws or fangs or supernatural powers. It would depend on something much simpler: who controls the story, who people believe, and who people fear. Because in every era, every society, in every political moment, the word monster eventually shows up. The real question is, who decides who the monsters are and why? That part is something you have to decide for yourself.